not to be able to do it this way when at the end of the day, we're going to the same goal. We're just going at it from different perspectives. You got to know your worth and know that you're trying to figure it out. This is your coin machine. You set the terms for this coin machine. And guess what? When you stop learning, you stop growing. Remember that. It's challenging, but it's possible. Please, y'all, please. Y'all have got to start walking your own paths. You can't just follow in the footsteps of somebody else. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm your host, Graveyyy, and today's episode is titled Default Settings. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap, clap, clap. Yeah. Anyways, we're going to be talking about how our environment, our upbringing, and different life experiences pretty much just sets us on a certain course, shaping the defaults that we live by every day. So from the way we react to stress, certain beliefs that we hold about ourselves, about the world, about others, whatever the case may be. And pretty much it's all pre-programmed. So a lot of people don't take the time to kind of think, okay, why do I think that? Or why do I believe that? Or when was the first time that I even conjured that thought, right? How did it come about? And so that's what we kind of want to dive into and pretty much challenge each individual watching, each insider, because I labeled y'all insiders. So challenge each insider to pretty much challenge the way that you think and expand your mind and be open to accepting a new perspective. So as you know, we get things popping off all the time with our Say Ah segment. So we're going to be opening up with a little quote from Eckhart Tolle. I think that's how you say his name. If it's Spanish, Tolle. Double L, Tolle. Well, we're just going to think he's English. We're going to say he's English. Yeah. We're going to say he's English. So we're going to say Tolle. Anyhow, we're going to say with our quote from Eckhart Tolle, which states, "The past has no power over the present moment." So deep. But y'all let that sink in while we get moving on into the next segment, and just keep that thought, that quote in your mind throughout the segment. And so while I'm asking the questions, be open to challenge your thoughts. Whenever we hear a certain question, a certain thought pops in our mind, right? Be willing to challenge that thought. And that's what I just encourage you guys to do while we make our way through each segment all the way to the closing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go over into our internet segment. And the focus of today's internet segment is society's role in shaping our default settings, including cultural norms, societal expectations, and external influences. We're challenging everything. We're challenging it all because we literally can't grow unless our thoughts are challenged, because we have to be open and willing to accept or at least consider different perspectives, right? So when I know we have our own beliefs and we have our thoughts, and it is a direct reflection of the people that we grew up around, those adults that raised us, who influenced our thoughts and expectations. And I always tell people, you can only teach what you know. And the largest teacher, which most people know, the largest teacher is action. Me watching you do something, and that's how it's going to pick up quicker. Like, you could tell me 100 times something else, right? But me watching you do it, I'm going to pick it up like lightning. Like, it's going to go so fast. Okay, I'll pick it up. And then over time with being raised, it's just like, oh, that's just the way that we do it. That's just how it's done, because all we did was watch the people before us do it. But like another quote says, just because it is doesn't, what it said, just because it is doesn't mean it should be. So some things could be wrong, and not necessarily saying, I take that back, not necessarily saying that everything or some things could be wrong. There just may be a different way that we can get the same task done. And the different way to get the task done may be more effective. So like I said, we just got to always be open and willing to challenge the norms and, challenge ourselves to try something new, because you never know what you may learn or how you may grow from it. And I tell everybody, trying something new, the worst you could do is learn something new. Trying something different, the worst you can do is learn something new. So, like I said, I just keep that quote in your mind. What it said, the past has no power over the present moment. So just keep that quote in your mind and challenge yourself to really just be open to a different perspective. So, and remember, while we're answering these questions and whatnot, don't forget to put your answers in the comments, because I really want to hear from you guys. I want to hear all the different perspectives. And like I said, we can all glean from and learn from each other. And that's what it's about. It's no one way to do anything. Like they always say, it's probably a little inhumane, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. So, but anyways, going into the first question, it says, how does society pressure us to conform to certain defaults? For example, career paths, success, and relationships. Society, I don't really, if you haven't been able to tell over the course of the season, me and society is just kind of like, because it's like, just because you tell me I'm supposed to do it that way, like, I want to know why do you think I should do it that way, right? So with society's pressure, and I'm not saying that I have never been pressured by society, and I think I just always challenged it, right? But some things I have conformed to. So for me, it says, how does society pressure us to conform to certain defaults? Most of it is just like, well, you do it because that's just how it's done. And so whenever you start to challenge that or ask questions, some people get offended. And so it kind of makes it uncomfortable for individuals to even ask the question, like, hey, well, why can't I do it this way? It can have the same outcome. And it's just like, okay, just do it because that's how it's done. That's how it's always been done. But then it's like, whenever you're asked, okay, well, why has it always been done that? And now it's like, oh, you're challenging my authority. You're questioning me. You're being disobedient. You're being rebellious. But it's really just a genuine question, especially when you have kids. Kids are like naturally curious. Like they're just naturally curious. So they're going to ask questions. And then when you have an adult or a parent, it's just like, oh, just do it because I said so. Though that's not a valid, logical reason for me not to be able to do it this way, when at the end of the day, we're going to the same goal. We're just going at it from different perspectives. And then, like I said, it goes back to that, oh, you're challenging my authority, you're challenging my intelligence, because if the child turns out to do it the way that they were thinking about doing it and they get it done quicker, now it's just like, oh, dang, my child knows more than me or anything like that. And which it was never like that. We just have to be open to accepting a different perspective. Aside from that, can we please, don't get me wrong, wisdom comes with age, but we got to take the perspective of Solomon. Solomon was raised in the temple from a very, very young age, from I think like 3, if I'm not mistaken, maybe younger, but he was raised in the temple from a very, very, very young age. Solomon was wise from that young age, and he was even more wise in the future. So we got to get out of this idea that, oh, I'm older than you, I know more than you. Granted, via experience, you for sure do. But sometimes, a younger person can make a more logical decision, or make a, what word am I looking for? A younger person can make a more logical decision, and it can make more sense than how we're doing things, because we don't even know that we've accepted a cultural norm until somebody challenges it. And then we got to kind of step back, because now we can make a decision and be like, okay, dang, I can be open to this new way of thinking, or I can get offended or defensive because now I feel like, oh, you're trying to call me stupid, or you don't think I know how to do this or know how to do that. When we just have to get out of that mindset. It's like everything, if somebody can correct you or give you a different opinion or a different perspective, nobody's trying to correct you or say that you're stupid or anything like that. They're literally just trying to share their experience, their past experience, what they know, and maybe you could benefit from it. Maybe you could learn from it and take it and put it into practice. We never know. So, yeah, I think through aggression, through outcasting, because it's just kind of like, you know, people banding together, and it's kind of like you're being thrown off the island. They can kind of take you and make you feel like you not adhering to the cultural norms is weird, or make you feel like you're, not so smart because you want to challenge it, or you want to be, or just stand 10 toes behind what you believe, and they will make you feel like an outcast. So, like I said, they can pressure you to conform through making you feel like an outcast. So, people banding together and you're feeling like you're getting thrown off the island. They talk about you, call your names, and then, now it's kind of like, dang, this is a lot of pressure. I'm just going to do it how everybody else doing it, because I'm tired of being like singled out. I'm tired of sticking out like a sore thumb. And it's not good, because we need to start changing the narrative. Essentially, like, we need to start training up our kids to embrace different perspectives. I understand that we, as older individuals, I understand that we feel so strongly about the different thoughts. But like I said, not only do we need to challenge the kids, we need to challenge ourselves to be open to a different perspective and stop being so closed-minded. Now, it's certain things that, closed-minded, you might need to be, but when it comes to processes and life, listen, we have to be a little bit open-minded to make sure that we're growing and being the best versions of ourselves that we can be every day for the individuals that's looking up to us and emulating after us. So, yeah, that was a long way to say that being outcast and talking bad about you and stuff like that, and just constant pestering about the same thing, can pretty much pressure you to conform to society. Well, societal pressures. Well, certain defaults from society. So the next question says, in what ways do cultural expectations impact our decision making or beliefs about what's normal? In what ways does cultural expectations impact our decision making or beliefs about what's normal? They question you, and they'll question you in a way to make you feel like, dang, am I doing something wrong? It's not an insightful question, like a question where they're just trying to really, okay, well, what are you doing? That's interesting. No, it's just like, well, what you doing? And I tell everybody, I'm like, don't get me wrong, tone and voice, yeah, it's the same thing. But I'm like, I always listen to tone, because you can say the same thing, and if you know, especially in the brown community, Black and brown community, listen, you can say the same thing in different tones and mean different things. That's the only difference of what you say, is the tone. Cause somebody could tell me, hey, how you doing? Or they could say, hey, how you doing? Or they could say, well, how you doing? I know you understood all three times. What was the first one? More friendly. That second one, hey, how you doing? more flirty. Well, how you doing? Aggression. That third one, somebody was staring at you and you like, dog, you're staring at me and not saying anything. So how you doing? Like, dog, what you staring at? Essentially, that's what it means. It means different things. So people can question what you're doing and you will know, and it'll stir up a feeling in you and just like, dang, like, am I doing something wrong? I'm just trying to figure it out. We all got sent home with some parents, made it to 18, and our parents was like, whew, off our shoulders, go and get out of there. And we're out in the world trying to figure it out. So life is trial and error. That's what it is. God dog it. It's trial and error. That just hit me. Because we're just trying things out, trying to figure out if it works. Somebody said it works. Well, dog, it makes sense to me. I'm gonna try it. But there's somebody that's complacent or comfortable where they are. They're gonna question you like, why would you do that? That's not how you do that. Why? Because they only know to do it one way. And they've never thought to go and learn a different way. They're just gonna question, oh, why are you doing it like that? That's not how you do that. And the question is very simply, why is this not the way you do that? I mean, you don't know. If I push through and keep pressing, doing it the way that I just learned from somebody else, I'm just trying it out. Because all it is trial and error. I'm just trying it out. I understand that you're saying that that's not how you do that. But if I keep pushing and pressing and the way that I'm doing it ends up working out, that's when you get to the end and they're just like, oh, well, they won't even accept it after that. They're just like, oh, you probably could have did it quicker if you just did this. Like, dog, like you can't even accept the fact that I got it done. Now you want to scrutinize the process. And a lot of people, when you don't do it the way that they do it, they're looking for you to fail so that they can easily say, oh, I told you should have just did it like this. And a lot of people, oh, I don't mean I tell you I told you so. But pretty much says, oh, I told you so. That's if it doesn't work out. And so a lot of things you got to kind of be okay with going at it alone, because society will constantly, the entire ride, society will constantly try to put their 2 cents in to a coin machine that doesn't take pennies. So you got to know your worth and know that you're trying to figure it out. This is your coin machine. You set the terms for this coin machine, and guess what? Nobody else can alter or make you deviate from what the terms you set for your coin machine. And like I said, I've always said you can learn from good and bad teachers, right? So I can be more observant than you speak, watch more than you speak, because I can watch and learn from 2 different leaders, a good one and a bad one. And I can learn what I don't want to do, and I can learn what I do want to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that the good leader is always good. It's just a matter of I'm looking at more of your processes and more of the different goals and the way you move. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at more of yours than I'm looking at more of his, right? So this one over here might not be integral. I'm looking more of your morals. Okay, your integrity, top notch. You tell it like it is. I like that. So it's certain things that we have to be willing to challenge ourselves, because if we're just more conformative with our mindsets, well, of course, it's just, I don't care. I'm not even looking to see if you're a good or bad leader. I'm just, well, they said that's how you do it. I'm gonna just do it like that. That's an employee mindset, and we got to get out of that. We have to get out of that, because at the end of the day, we can't be our own individual selves if we're looking to follow the next person. We can't even lead ourselves if we're looking for the next person to lead us. And especially if we're looking to man to lead us, like, you struggle with the same thing that I struggle with every single day. Why would I sit here and listen to you when you don't even know what you're talking about? I literally, it's somebody, I know you know somebody that you have watched just on the up, down, up, whatever. And you still look at him like, dang, you know, I thought you had it together, but you don't really have it together. But I'm still going to copy some of the things you do. Like, why? Why not be an individual and just challenge yourself to be better? Why not be an individual and challenge yourselves to look for other teachers? So yeah. In what ways does cultural expectations impact our decision making or beliefs about what's normal? Like I said, we're more conformative in our actions and in our thoughts. We got to become more of an individual. So, yeah. Then it says, all right. Then it says, how does external pressures make us hold on to certain defaults, even when they no longer serve us? They question you. Again, they question you whenever you're trying to better yourself, whenever your mindset begins to shift. Society tells you, hey, that's not how you do that. What are you doing? Who do you think you are? They start going after, it's almost an immediate oh, you must think you're better than me or something like that. When it's just like, dog, I just want better for myself. I don't think I'm better than anyone. I just want better for myself. And I came across this one teacher who said that, hey, you know, you could have better, and I just so happen to believe it. So yeah, I want to change the way that I eat. Yeah, I want to start working out. Yeah, I want to start going. Yes, I want to go to school. I want to get a degree. I understand that most of our family might not have had one. I want to go to college. Then they'll tell you, oh, well, you don't need a degree to get a good job. Oh, I want to eat. I can be better. I want to slim down. Oh, you look good. Where you at? Well, God dog, can I not challenge myself to be better? It's always a rebuttal to you when you begin to try and change yourself for the better. And you have to be okay with chasing these goals and going after a life that you have conjured up in your mind, a life that you're faithing into existence. You have to be okay with going after these goals and these insights by yourself, because you have to get to, if you sit in the area where everybody around you is questioning what you're doing, they're telling you you don't need to do that, you don't need to do that. The longer you sit there and stew in that, the more you're going to start to believe what they're saying, and then you're going to become complacent like everybody else, right? So in reality, it's a very, very lonely road when you're starting to shift your mindset and you're beginning to change, because the external pressures tries to make you stay where you are. And I think in my experience, a lot of times when people try to make you stay where you are is because they've gotten complacent, or they're unhappy with the fact that maybe at one point they had these big dreams or these big aspirations, and instead of pushing past that first no or pushing past that first obstacle, they begin to conform, and they ended up regressing and falling by the wayside because they decided not to try anymore. So they're unhappy with their decision. So if I couldn't make it, but it's a misery loves company. If I couldn't make it, you can't make it. And I don't want to see you make it, because then it's going to be, it's going to put me in a position to where I have to question, well, dog, what could I have done different? Or why didn't I make it? Right. It's going to place a pressure on them. It's like a reverse pressure, right? It's going to place a pressure on those individuals and pretty much challenge them to self-reflect and see where they could have done better. Because listen, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But yeah. So that's how external pressures makes us hold on to certain defaults, even when they no longer serve us. They just constantly question us, and pretty much they say it so much to try to get you to conform. So it's a very big decision, and it's a very challenging decision, because sometimes you have to leave people where they are for the sake of you going after your dreams or building the certain life you want or obtaining those aspirations. So it's hard, but it's worth it, and it's possible. So all right, so going into the buffering segment, the focus of today's buffering segment is the internal conflict between challenging old defaults and embracing change or new ways of thinking. And this is my favorite part, because before I went on my faith walk, I went on my quote unquote mindset journey. And so that's when I was just kind of like reading a lot of books. There's like a lot of self-help books, and they pretty much was challenging the way that I was thinking, the way that the cultural norms that I was introduced to when I was young, like growing up, the way that I was raised. It was challenging everything. And I tell everybody, I was just kind of dumb enough to believe it, right? And so that's all you have to be is open to receiving information and being coachable and teachable, because you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to put yourself, you can never be like, oh, well, I already know that. What I need to learn that for? You can't put yourself in that position, because that's when you stop growing. When you stop learning, that is when you stop growing. And I don't care if you're out post high school 20 years, post college 15 years. I don't care about that. When you stop learning, you stop growing. Remember that. So you have to be in a position always and willing to challenge what you thought was okay. Now, when it's something that you're thinking and there's constant evidence that's supporting that, oh, this might be a fact. Everything else may be an opinion, and you have to be willing. I guess let's be specific. You have to be willing to challenge your opinion about things. Facts, can't really challenge facts. There's evidence that supports it, right? So you have to be willing to challenge your opinions. And so the first question in the buffering segment is, how do you feel when you first start questioning your default settings or habits? It's a little uncomfortable, and you start to question yourself. Like in my experience, I think I've always been kind of very introverted, but also very extroverted. So what they say is omnivert, something like that. I don't know. But I've always been comfortable. You know, I'm comfortable in an environment with people in it. Cool. I can vibe out. Cool. But when I'm by myself, like my mind runs a mile a minute, and I'm super creative when I'm like just kind of isolated by myself. Super creative. I'm always doing something, thinking something up. I'm like, oh, I could do this or I could do that, right? And I'm always learning. I'm either hanging out with older people, reading, and just always seeking experience and knowledge, right? Not to puff myself up, just a matter of, dang, like I feel like it's something that I can always learn. Like I said, once you stop learning, you stop growing. And I love the growth process. So obviously I love the learning process too. So whenever you're starting to first question and challenge the cultural norms, it's a little uncomfortable, and you start to think like, dang, like you start trying to find others that think like you. But when you're in an environment where it's not many people that think like you, it's kind of like, dang, before the people can even make you an outcast, you start to make your own self an outcast. Like, dang, why would I think that? Like, but then you start seeing things that support it, and you're just like, oh, well, I mean, but then, and so then it kind of like transforms to a point where maybe at one point you start to announce like what you're thinking. And of course you get the pushback, and people are Like, why would you say that? That's like stupid. Why would you say that? And then they make you feel dumb. So now you go back to regressing, and then you get the confidence again to say something else, and they say it again and shut you down. Just like, well, I'm going to regress. And then it's a constant back and forth until you get comfortable and confident in what you're thinking and the ideas that's popping into your head. And it's just like, dang, I'm going to believe this until I find something that's contradicts it in a way that there's more evidence to support the second opinion, or I find something that again contradicts it. So the contradicting information can be presented to me by another individual, or it can be, something that I find just through reading and studying myself. But at some point you just have to be confident and comfortable with standing out for real. Cause I'm like, dang, once you get that new information in your head, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around the old information. Cause you're like, it don't make sense for me to constantly think like that doesn't make sense at all. Right. For example, what's a good one? For example, I can't think of it. It want to come to me. I'm trying to find one that's simple, but I don't want it to be like too deep. And then just like, y'all really see how this mind of mine just, hey, come on back. So I tell y'all, always say, just pull me back because my mind be bouncing, but it's going to come to me. And then it says, what is the hardest part about challenging the way you've always done things? Didn't I just read it? Anyways, what's the hardest part about challenging the way that you've always done things? Like I said, it's just uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable because you get caught into the trap of the back and forth, feeling like an outcast, feeling like you're the only person in the world that thinks like that, simply because you don't have other individuals that kind of, or what I say is on the same wavelength or something as you. I don't know. But yeah, it's very uncomfortable, and because of the aspect of feeling like you're alone. And it takes a little while to kind of gain that confidence with just being okay being alone, because like, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. I'm just alone in the way that I think, if that makes sense. So it says, have you ever faced resistance internally or externally when trying to break free from your defaults? That kind of goes back to the second question. Like I said, internally is kind of like a push and pull, because it's like, okay, why am I thinking like this? Like I said before, nobody can tear you down more than you could tear yourself down. So, what you believe is kind of what comes into existence. You're faithing into existence. So it's kind of like that back and forth where it's just like, dang, why am I thinking like this? When you get a little bit of confidence, you're like, okay, well, this is my perspective on it. And then somebody will be like, what? Why would you say that? Wow, that don't even make sense. And then you're just like, oh, okay. And the reason you regress is because you don't really have that confidence in just being able to have a differing opinion and just agree to disagree. But I think that's a big part of it too, is like the culture wants conflict, right? And what I mean by that is people want to be into it. Like, they just want to be into it. Like, it's hard to kind of find individuals where you can sit and have a challenging conversation with, and at the end of it, just agree to disagree. It's not, I don't like you because you don't think the way I do. It's a lot of immaturity. So when you're grown enough or mature enough to just be like, okay, well, I still believe what I believe. I understand where you're coming from, but it wasn't contradicting enough to make me conform to what you're thinking, right? So people just want to fight. So now it's like, oh, you don't agree with me? That girl think weird. I don't deal with her. Whatever. That don't make sense. Can we grow up? I think I say that a lot. Just, can we grow up? Please. Please. I got today. All right. Let's go into Tap Intranet segment. The focus is the emotional and mental toll of living on autopilot, relying on old patterns, and how reprogramming your defaults can lead to growth and peace. Like I said, when we stop learning, we stop growing. So we can be insane and do the same thing and expect a different outcome and just watch our lives be stagnant, stay complacent. We can do all that. And then we can beat ourselves up when we get older and be like, oh, I should have did this and I could have did that and should have did right there. I would prefer to get older and say, well, I tried and I got to this point. Maybe I didn't get to where I wanted to go, but I would be more comfortable and I would be more satisfied if I get to my older age and be like, well, dang, I tried. And really know that I gave it my very, very, very best shot. And I wasn't being conformative to what other people just told me that I should be doing, because they didn't know. They were only trying to teach me what they were taught. And I'm okay with challenging that perspective. So first question is Intranet is, how has relying on default settings affected your personal growth or mental peace? I think I kind of always was challenging it. Like I said, even when I was younger, like I understood like the respect aspect of it, right? So like, oh, don't talk when grown folks talking, don't talk back, da da da. So my main goal was like, okay, well, I could still listen to what you're saying as far as like, don't talk back, respect your adult elders, stuff like that, and I can listen to what you're saying. But I always knew that I didn't have to take it like as law, if that makes sense. Like, of course, you're like, go wash. I'm gonna go wash. But sitting, even growing up, and you're just like, oh, well, oh goodness. One challenge. Told you it was gonna come to me. One cultural norm growing up, and I'm gonna talk about it because I really don't care. But growing up, and I won't just say like, I guess it's more popular in the Black community, but one of the cultural norms that I just cannot stand is the idea or this concept or notion to get on welfare, right? Or put some guy on child support. And it's just kind of like, for me, I always thought like, why would I do that? Like, why would I do that? I'm going to go out and look for a guy with money. Obviously, I don't care if I love him or not. My ultimate goal is to have a baby by this guy with money so I can put him on child support so I don't have to work, so I can get this check every month. Granted, if the tables are rolling and that's just how it came about, okay, cool. But that's not my ultimate goal. That's not my hidden agenda to go out and seek out this man and have a baby by him just to put him on child support. You know why? Because I always had the idea of, I don't want to do something to somebody else that I wouldn't want done to me. And I understand like, oh, that's a man and I'm a female. Okay, cool. But still, like, I wouldn't want, because it's some trifling, come on. It's like some trifling women, some trifling men. So some people can really and truly do that. But in my head, I'm like, why would I do that? I could just go get a job. If I just want some money, I could just go get a job. So then I've always been into the habit of dissecting these different thoughts or opinions, right? So now I got to start dissecting it. So it's like, boom. So if I just want some money, I could just go get a job. But why isn't other people thinking I could just go get a job? So then it's like, okay, let's dig a little deeper. You don't want to get a job. Okay, so you don't want to work. So it's all rooted in laziness. So it's all rooted in laziness. And so then I start like comparing to myself. I'm like, well, I don't want to be lazy. I could just go get a job. I like making my own money. I like turning my own key. I like going here, going there, getting in my car, being when it's ready. I don't want to have to depend on somebody that I am not building a life with. You get what I'm saying? And then another thing in cultural norms is committing with a baby versus a ring. What? So you want to commit to me by having a baby with me, but you don't want to commit to me by marrying me and giving our child the best step forward, best foot forward spiritually. Because you must understand that both the spiritual connotation and the worldly connotation of marriage. You don't want to be able to give our child the best step forward, but you want to have a baby with me, because guess what? You still want some sort of form of ties to me. You don't want to just leave me alone. These are all things that, y'all, I told you my mind be. You want ties to me, but you don't want to be tied to me. And that's some internal situation that guy or that female has going on, because you feel like you missing out on something, or you're going to miss the next best thing. It's nothing out here. What they say is pee in a dating pool. Find you somebody and sit down. Especially the older these folks get, the more I question it. I'm like, dang. You're really not going to do anything. You're 40 plus. Still trying to be on the block. Still trying to bounce from woman to woman. And they keep putting these statistics out here. The rates is going up. And I'm not talking about money. Yeah. I got off track. Anyways, how was relying on default settings affecting your personal growth or mental peace? It was just getting overwhelming. Like, just thinking about all that stuff is just, whew. Because like, dang, like, people are weird, so I'm gonna stay inside. Bottom line. But the next question is, when did you realize that certain defaults were holding you back from reaching your full potential? It was more so a mindset, because I think it's a voice, and you remember the things that people talk to you about, or say to you, or the different, like, you know, eye rolls, or the different body languages or anything like that. Whenever you get excited about something, like, you could be really, really excited. And I remember whenever I first got the inclination that I was like, okay, I want to be better. Like, I can be better. And like, when I tell you, it really sunk in, and I was like really, really, truly in full belief of it. And I still am to this day. Like I said, I just always challenge it. So it was a little bit harder for me to allow other people's feelings to get in the way of what I want to do. Because at the end of the day, your feelings has no bearing on how I'm living my life or how my life is going to go forward. So, I think whenever I was first like fully convinced, I was like, okay, I have been saying the same thing over and over again for like years. So every time I'll talk to somebody, I'm like, you know, whenever I become the millionaire I'm supposed to be, I'll do such and such, such and such. And everybody be like, oh, okay. And I'm just telling everybody. And I used to walk around and tell everybody, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna be a millionaire, right? Like, I'm gonna be a millionaire, a multimillionaire. I'm gonna be a millionaire. And they're like, oh, okay. But mind you, I was telling it to small-minded people that were kind of, they hadn't seen it before. And that's a big one too. We live in a faithless society. So people can't believe what they don't see. And literally that's what Christianity is all about, believing in Jesus Christ, whom we cannot see. And so I think, not to challenge anybody's faith, but I think that's kind of like the root of the issue when it comes to surrenderance for certain people. It's just like, oh, okay, well, sure, I believe in Jesus. And then once they get into the thick of it and they're getting into a trying time and they feel like he's not moving on their behalf quick enough, as he should. And then it's just like, oh, well, where was he then? Or where was he now? And it kind of can be applied to our everyday life and our cultural norms, because whenever I started saying that, I started seeing the faithlessness, right? When it was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, all right. But see, me, I'm a whatever. I understand. It's not that I don't see it. It's just that I refuse to give into the misery or give into the doubt, right? Because I'll have my own set of doubts on this journey. I don't need to include or pile on other people's. So it's, if somebody was, I can say this on behalf of somebody else. If somebody was more, how can I say this? If someone was more susceptible to giving into somebody else's doubt, it could hinder them from attempting to go after their goals or attempting to be who they think they can be, right? But I just encourage you to block it out. Block their doubt out. Like I said, you're going to deal with your own set of doubts enough on this journey. You don't need to add on anymore. You can't take your bags and somebody else's bags with you. Let them stew in whatever they're stewing in, whatever they got brewing. Let them handle that. You don't need to stand around their pot. Get to where you got to go, and just always keep God first. And every time you're doubting yourself, cast those thoughts down, because we already know that the enemy's game, his playing field is the mind. So all that overthinking or that self-doubt, all that is the enemy playing on your top head. Mind is the playing field, is the battlefield. Self-doubt, I can't do this, I can't do that. Somebody else coming to student, the little Satan minions of the enemy. You got to cast those down. Read the chapter in Corinthians. The weapons of our warfare is not carnal. Read that chapter. Read it. Speak it over yourself every time you get into those little habits or those little spells where it's just like, dang, I can't do this. I can't go any further. I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna do this. The overwhelming feelings, the depression, all that. Speak that scripture over yourself and over your life, and I promise you it'll help you. And instead of you feeling like your fullest potential is being hindered, you'll start to at least make those small steps and strides, because slow progress is still progress. So just remember that. So it says, what does it feel like when you finally break free from old patterns that no longer serve you? Oh, liberating. It literally does feel liberating, because whenever you look back and you've been in the constant back and forth where somebody's telling you, hey, this is not going to happen, that's not going to go, it can never be done that way. And then at the end of it, not to puff yourself up, when it happens, you're just going to look back and be like, dang, I can keep going forward. I understand that they have their own ideas of how they think it's supposed to be done, but this pretty much just explained to me, and it just showed me that, hey, everything is not one way. It's not you do it my way or the highway. It's nobody's micromanaging you out here. There's one person that's the head of your life. There should be one person that's the head of your life, Jesus Christ. And he doesn't micromanage. Don't get me wrong. When he got to draw you, if you're going too far right, he'll help you. But he gave us free will. That means you're free to exercise your will or your decisions, right? So my decisions, they're all individual, because you're telling me it's done this way, but you can't answer for me when I get to the gates. I have to answer for me. I can't answer for my kids. I can't answer for my husband. I can't answer for my mama, daddy, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, cousins. Bars. But once you let that sink in and realize, dang, you can't answer for me, that means I have to make decisions that's going to benefit me, push the kingdom forward, and then make sure that my heart is in the right posture whenever it's time to go. Because when I get to that gate, I can't say, oh, well, my mama told me to do it like this, and that's why I did it like this. He gonna look at you like, she answer for hers, but she not gonna answer for that, because you had a choice to do it or don't do it. So it's liberating. And then you start to get more confident in making decisions that don't necessarily align with everybody else. It's very liberating. So I encourage it. Challenge it. And there's a respect, especially when it comes to parents. When it comes to parents, there's a way that you could be like, when it comes to parents, there's a way that you could be like, oh, I understand, but you don't have to do it. And when they come back and be like, did you do it like I did? I said, no, I did it another way. Oh, okay. Why didn't you do it like I did? I didn't want to. It's challenging, but it's possible. Please, y'all, please. Y'all have got to start walking your own paths. You can't just follow in the footsteps of somebody else. You got to find out your likes, your dislikes, your wants, your cares, what you believe in. You can't just let other people's ideas or notions just drive your actions and your everyday actions, because then you're going to find yourself in the same place that you don't want to, that they're in, that you don't want to be. And it's crazy that we can watch somebody's life and be like, I want my life to be different. And then we start following in the same patterns that they're following into. It's kind of like, hello, you following in my footsteps. I'm going to follow right behind you. So obviously I'm going to be just like you. You get what I'm saying? You have to make a decision to want better, want more, and go after it. And be okay with just, you know what? I'm okay with being a little outcast for a little minute, because eventually you'll find your tribe, and then you're gonna be 100% confident. But yeah, going into the take control segments. Take control says, Control A says, what highlights stood out to you the most from our conversation? And I'm going to have to go with, when you stop learning, you stop growing. And like I said, I'm very big on growth, self-reflection, constructive criticism, and just challenging the ideas that I thought yesterday. And like I said, whenever I can find something that, contradicts and what I'm thinking or how I feel, and there's more evidence to support the new contradiction, then I don't mind conforming. Right? But it's not conforming in a way where it's this way or no way, right? It's conforming in a way that, dang, I'm still open-minded, that if something else comes along that contradicts that, I can bring that into the fold, right? And apply that just as much. And dang, like, we just have to be open to constantly grow and constantly shed those old skins, and think about like snakes, but think about a snake. Like, you got to be constantly willing to shed the old skin for growth. They're shedding because they're growing. It doesn't fit. The snail, the doggone crabs, like, you have to be willing to shed to grow. And another thing is, we have to be okay with being alone for maybe just a season. We have to be okay with being alone for maybe just a season, for the simple fact that I have to get into a place where I'm comfortable and confident in the way that I'm thinking, because I know that maybe if I go around this individual, I might conform, or maybe if I go around this, maybe I'm easily influenced, right? Okay, I have to remove myself so I can get comfortable and confident, so that way when I go back, I don't even have the same urges. I don't even have the same need or want to follow after you or do what you do. I'm comfortable and confident where I am. So yeah, that's the highlight that really and truly just stood out to me, is when you stop learning, you stop growing. So Control C says, what quotes or insights are you taking with you? The one I said, you can't, everybody put their 2 cents in, and your coin machine don't even take pennies. Be mindful of who's pouring into you. Be mindful, pay attention to their actions and their intentions. Pay attention to the way they're talking, their voice, everything. Just pay attention to all of it, because you can't afford to have the wrong people around you in the season of growth, because they can set you back way, way more than they can push you forward. So be mindful of who poured into you, who's investing in you. Be mindful. Even if somebody coming with all the right words, be mindful. Watch more than you speak. because their actions is going to tell you every time. Watch more than you speak. And don't be afraid to challenge it. Don't be afraid to challenge what you're seeing that's not adding up. And be okay with accepting something else that makes more sense. So Control V says, what will you be applying to your life moving forward? Moving forward, I'll more than likely continue to apply to my life to challenge the norms and always question everything. And just always be a student versus assuming that I know it all and that now I'm supposed to be this teacher. Always be a student, always be willing to learn, be open to learn, and be open to new perspectives. So that's what I'll be taking with me moving forward. So as a recap today, we explored how our upbringing and our environment sets us on autopilot with certain default settings, and how challenging those defaults can lead us to real change and growth. Ultimately, the end goal is to grow. Remember, snakes shed their skins because they're growing. They've gotten bigger. So guess what? Boop, boop, boop. Get this off. It's too small. It hurts. Ain't that crazy? It's painful to stay in one place. It's painful. But it's crazy because both parts of it is painful. But I would rather hurt and grow versus be hurt and stay in the same place. Dang. So in closing, we have a couple of reflective questions. The first one is, what's one default setting in your life that you're ready to challenge? What is it? Especially when it comes to like females. And it be other females that really be pushing it on you, is that I'm about to get ready to turn 30, y'all. Big auntie out here, right? So everybody's like, oh, well, I can talk about my aspirations and my goals, right? And the main thing that everybody say, oh, well, is it a man involved in that? Yep. When God send them down and send the right one my way, yeah, here it come. Here's the ring, and I'm about to boop boop pop out a couple of them kids. But I'm not idolizing that. People can say, oh, I'm getting old, and it's all you talk about. Goodness gracious. And you wonder why you haven't gotten it yet. You're idolizing it. And God has already told you, thou shalt not have any other God before me. People are over here thinking that, oh, I just put this statue right here, that's a God. No, an idol can be anything. An idol could be your kids. An idol could be your husband. An idol can be the idea of marriage. An idol can be the idea of children. An idol can be an idea, and you're obsessed with it constantly. You're wondering why he has not opened your womb. You're wondering why he has not released that man to come find you yet. So one of the societal norms that I'm willing to challenge is that I'm running out of time. I'm not. Like I said before, once there's an example, it debunks the myth. So guess what? I'm not on anybody's clock. I'm not on anybody's watch tower but Jesus, okay? When God ready to send the man, here come them kids right behind him. Because I'm ready. For real. I'm ready. Sir, sit me there and tell me what to do. It's not 100% sure that I'm going to listen. Tell me what to do so I can say no. I'll go do part of it. But just tell me what to do so I can say no. Like, y'all, I'm ready. It's so many people out here. Oh, I want to be wife. I want to be a wife. You're not even wife material. You can't even endure some craziness in a relationship, but you want to be a wife. You can't even endure some trouble on a job, but you want to be a wife. You want to be a husband. You want to be a mother. Like, can we not focus on getting right with God and getting our heart posture and getting our demons eradicated before we try to bring individuals into this world and yoke to these people when we're dealing with our traumas, they're dealing with theirs. What we're gonna do? Have a trauma bond? No, I want a successfully, happily married relationship with some happy kids. I want to be bold enough to deal with my issues and be transparent enough with my kids, with my other half, to be able to tell them, hey, I know we go through stuff. I went through this as a child and XYZ. You know, of course, use wisdom once they get to the certain age. I want to have the time. I want to have everything in order so that I can spend as much time with these kids as possible and just pour into them and cultivate their gifts and protect them from this evil world. Y'all trying to force, and that's what it is. You force people, you pressure people into these roles knowing they're not ready. And it's for the simple fact of your end goal, especially when it's like mothers that's like pressuring on their kids. You just want to be a grandmama. And you ain't even accepted the fact that you was 3/4 of a mother. Like, we can't even sit down and talk about what we went through as kids, and I'm not talking about my mama, like we talk about this all the time. I'm just saying, speaking in general, like we can't even sit down and talk about what we went through as kids or just explain to you like my experience here, my experience there without you getting offended and being on the defense. But you want me to have, I don't even feel whole, but you want me to have a whole kid? Huh? Make it make sense. And that's where we got to be. That's why we have to be willing and open to challenging these ideas. No, I'm not going to have a kid right now, but I want kids. We got to be okay with saying that. Why don't I want to have them right now? Because I'm still dealing with some stuff from my childhood. And guess what? When you go through experience trauma at certain ages, you get trapped. Like your soul is kind of like trapped in that age range because nobody ever nurtured that, or that part of you have never healed, right? So you want a child to have a child. That's why you get so many people out here that's having babies and like, oh, I'm not gonna be the mama that I had. I'm not gonna beat my kids, and now these kids running rampant. Baby, kids need to be beat. Yeah, a little spanking here and there, a little timeout, a little correction goes a long way. Cause spare the rod, spoil the child. Like, these kids are out of control, and honey, I don't deal with grown kids. These kids are out of control. So no, I don't want to be half of a mother to anybody. I want to live my dream. I want to obtain my goals and my aspirations. And I want to be able to be in a place to encourage those kids and even my spouse to go after the same thing that they want out of life. Like, hey, more power to you. You're going to get it. And I want to say it and actually believe it. I don't want to say it because, oh, I'm supposed to be a mother and I'm just supposed to encourage my kids. No, I actually believe it. Why? Because I've done it. Yeah. All right. So how can you begin reprogramming your reactions? This is the second reflective question in the closing segment. Said, how can you begin reprogramming your reactions, beliefs, and patterns moving forward? And I can't say it enough. Just question it. Question everything. It don't matter. Just because it is, that's another quote that I could take with me. Just because it is doesn't mean it should be. Question everything, folks. I don't care if your mama did it, your grandma did it, if your mama said it, or your grandma said it, your granddaddy, your daddy, brother, sister, cousin, uncle. Why? And if you can't give me a logical reason why, then I think that's how I take it. If you can't give me a logical reason why, I have the fiduciary responsibility to go research it on my own and come up with my own opinion of it. Right or wrong? Right. So yeah, just in closing, just y'all question everything. Don't just conform. Don't just listen to what somebody say and carry it out. Like I said, if they can't give you a logical explanation why they think like this or why, challenge it. Go research it for yourself. Stop looking for a handout. That's it with information, knowledge, money, whatever. Get up, exercise your free will, get after it, and just want to be better. Be better. Choose to be better every day. Choose to be better every day. So that's all for today. Goodness, it was such a good conversation, but that is all for today. So don't forget to like, comment, and share this episode with your friends if it's blessed you. You guys can follow the podcast at Insider Threat TV on all platforms. You guys can follow me at I'm Graveyyy. That is with 3 Ys on Instagram. And on that note, I say protect your peace, audit your code, and as always, logging off for now. Your web tip of the day is coming up next.